Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, October 23rd. This is Rabbi Dovid Zirkind from the Riverdale Jewish Center with another weekly Parsha video this week for Parshat Noach. If you're lucky enough to have family and friends who come to visit from out of town, when the trip is over, the polite thing to do is walk them to the door and show them to their cars. And as they sit down in their seats and they fasten their seatbelts, you grab the door and you close it for them. You're not slamming the door in their face. That's not what you're doing. It's a nice, chivalrous, kind, and loving gesture, a way of saying we're really glad you came and we want you to have a safe trip home. The Mefarshim point out in this week's Parsha that somehow, in some incredible way, Noach is able to construct and operate the entire Teva essentially on his own. The only act in the entire story that Noach does not perform for himself is the closing of the ark after his family enters. Vayiskor Hashem ba'ado, the Torah tells us that Noach and his family entered the Teva, and Hashem closed the Teva for them. And many of the commentaries suggest that this is the reason. In this dark and scary moment, when they were uncertain about their future and if they would really survive, Hashem came to them and tucked them in. He secured the Teva, and he showed Noach and his family and all the creatures on board that they were going to be okay, and they would be alive and well on the other side of this story. But I think there's another explanation for why Noach was not the person to close the doors of the Teva. And I think it has a profound implication and a profound lesson for us during a very difficult political climate. Closing the doors of the Teva doesn't just mean that Noach and his family are secure on the inside, but it also guarantees certain death for the people that were on the outside. The point of this entire story is that it's Hashem's difficult task to judge and punish those that have eroded the society that he built. Noach's job is not that. Noach's mission is to build a Teva that is large enough, to build it slowly enough, that people feel that they can join him, that they're inspired to be a part of his change in the future of society. And whether or not Noach was successful, the point of the story is that it's Hashem's job to close the doors, and it's humanity's job to keep the doors open. Noach is not the person to close the doors of the Teva. He's the one who builds it and opens it up to all. Even in times when good and evil are as starkly contrasted as black and white as night and day, the Torah tells us that Hashem does the judging and humanity has to find a way to stay together. We remain vigilant about values and social change that is dangerous. We have to keep ourselves away from ideologies that are criminal and immoral and unjust in the same way that Noach did. And yet at the same time, the Torah believes that it's possible for us to be both apart and connected, to still care about and to support people whose values are very different than ours, even if we know those values are wrong. I worry in a year like this one, where political values have become not just disagreements, but we've learned to demonize those who disagree with our politics. I worry about community and unity in the future, not only of the Jewish community, but our American society as a whole. What is the future of our communities when we can't get along with the people that we disagree with? And especially during this heated political climate, that's something that we're all thinking about. The Torah has a very powerful lesson for us here. We have to make sure that we can still sit at the table with people that we disagree with. We have to make sure that we can be friends and neighbors with people even if we vote differently than they do. We have to make sure that we can stay connected and we continue to care for those who are differently oriented than we are in issues of politics or values or social change. It's critical to who we are, and it's critical to the future of our communities. The lesson of this story, the lesson of Parshat Noach, is that Hashem is responsible for shutting the doors by Yiskor Hashem ba'ado, and we are responsible for building a Teva that's large enough. We are responsible for keeping the doors open, especially in a year like this one, where we need each other more than ever. We have to work twice as hard as ever before to make sure that we are connected to one another, because we will need each other. And the hope of this story and the hope of our moment is that we will be there for each other when we need one another the most. I want to wish everyone a wonderful Shabbos, and we look forward to seeing you soon.